This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet, a slim front pocket wallet available in carbon fiber and titanium. With more than 250,000 sold, a lifetime guarantee and free shipping, get 10% off with the code GOLDFISH at ridgewallet.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we have a super sweet combo list to check out today. I am super excited for this one. This is a Ravnica Allegiance-based modern combo deck, Prime Speaker Pod, and it was submitted by Allie J. So thank you so much to Allie J for sending in a really cool deck that I can't wait to play. We really need Ravnica Allegiance to release so I can start playing this deck because it looks so much fun. A quick reminder before we break down Prime Speaker Pod for Modern. If you enjoy this deck and you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave that link in the comments or you can email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. So this deck is a combo deck, and it's not only a combo deck, but it's got a bunch of different interesting loops, and they all come back to Prime Speaker Vannifar. So Prime Speaker Vannifar, 4 mana, 2/4, etc., etc., etc. All that stuff doesn't really matter. The important thing is, Prime Speaker is a birthing pod. It's a birthing pod in a creature body, and the idea of this deck is to untap with Prime Speaker and win the game. We have combinations of creatures in our deck that we can tutor up, so if we get an unsummoning sick Prime Speaker with even just one other creature on the battlefield, we should be able to loop our way into the win. So to make this plan practical, we need a bunch of 1-drops to produce mana. So we have Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch. These cards help get us to our Prime Speaker a little bit quicker, and then they are also really key for starting out some of the loops. So to understand what this deck is trying to do, and it might be a bit lengthy, we're going to have to walk through, there's actually 4 different combo ways to win with this deck, so we're going to have to walk through the combo. So let's say that we start off the battlefield with basically what you see on this screen. Let's say we have a Prime Speaker and a Birds of Paradise. The Prime Speaker is not summoning sick. We cast it on turn 3 with our Birds of Paradise, we untapped with it. How do we go from only having Birds of Paradise Prime Speaker on the battlefield to winning the game right away? And here is loop number 1. So loop number 1 is we sacrifice our Birds of Paradise to get a Scrib Ranger. And Scrib Ranger is this weird 2-mana flyer. The important thing here is it has an ability where we can return a forest to our hand to untap a creature once each turn. So we sack the Birds of Paradise, we get Scrib Ranger. Scrib Ranger bounces a forest, untaps Prime Speaker. So we get another activation. Next activation, we sack the Scrib Ranger to get Renegade Rallier. That's another key combo piece. Renegade Rallier enters the battlefield, reanimates a converted mana cost 2 or less permanent from our graveyard, as long as we have Revolt, and we do because we're sacking stuff to Prime Speaker. So Renegade Rallier comes into play. It gets back Scrib Ranger from the battlefield. Scrib Ranger, since it died and returned to the battlefield, counts as a new object, which means we can use the ability again. So we can bounce a forest, untap Prime Speaker. Then we sacrifice the Scrib Ranger, again, that's sacrifice fodder, to get a Deceiver Exarch. Deceiver Exarch comes into play, untaps our Prime Speaker, so now our battlefield is Prime Speaker, Renegade Rallier, Deceiver Exarch. The next step is we sacrifice the Renegade Rallier to get a Restoration Angel. Restoration Angel comes into play, it blinks the Deceiver Exarch, Deceiver Exarch enters the battlefield, untaps Prime Speaker, then finally we sacrifice the Restoration Angel to get Kiki-jiki, and now our battlefield is Kiki-jiki, Deceiver Exarch, Prime Speaker. We don't really need the Prime Speaker anymore. We just go infinite with Kiki-jiki. Copy Deceiver Exarch, untap Kiki. Copy Deceiver Exarch, untap Kiki. Infinite damage out of nowhere, starting with Birds of Paradise and Prime Speaker. So that is combo loop number 1. Unsummoning sick Prime Speaker, a single Birds of Paradise on the battlefield, we win the game. Let's talk about combo loop number 2. So combo loop number 2, we can start from the same point, working up from 1-drop to a 2-drop to a 3-drop, but we're going to jump right in at 3 mana. So let's say we sacrifice a random 2-drop, a Scrib Ranger, to get Deceiver Exarch. Deceiver Exarch untaps Prime Speaker. We sacrifice Deceiver Exarch to get Breaching Hippocamp, which is kind of like a 4-mana Deceiver Exarch. It comes into play, it untaps our Prime Speaker. Then we sacrifice our Breaching Hippocamp to get Zealous Conscript, which technically lets us gain control of a permanent, but it also untaps that permanent. So instead of stealing one of our opponent's things, we use Zealous Conscripts, to untap Prime Speaker. So now we have a Zealous Conscripts and a Prime Speaker, and you're probably thinking, how do we get from that board state to winning the game? Well, the next step is we sacrifice Zealous Conscripts to get Sun Titan. Sun Titan comes into play, allows us to get back Deceiver Exarch from our graveyard to untap the Prime Speaker, and then we do some shenanigans where we're able to sacrifice the Deceiver Exarch, again, to get a Restoration Angel. Restoration Angel comes into play, it blinks the Sun Titan to get back Deceiver Exarch to untap Prime Speaker, then finally we sacrifice Restoration Angel, get the kiki-jiki, same combo, win the game. So those are the two main Prime Speaker combo loops, where literally we start with a single one drop in a Prime Speaker on the battlefield, and we assemble a win from there. That's all we need. That's all we need to win with Prime Speaker, just like old Birthing Pod. We also have a couple of backup combos. So backup combos, not quite as spicy, but we can use Prime Speaker to assemble Vizier of Remedies and Devoted Druid. Devoted Druid, also just a fine ramp spell, which is nice. But here we can like sacrifice our Birds of Paradise, get Devoted Druid, sacrifice another Birds of Paradise or whatever, get a Vizier of Remedies. That gives us infinite mana because we can just keep tapping and untapping Devoted Druid. Then, after we make, I don't know, 1,000,000 mana or something, we can just sacrifice a random 2-drop to get our Ronas the Indomitable, which takes advantage of all of our infinite mana to let us pump a Vizier Remedies or Devoted Druid or whatever a roughly infinite number of times, thousands and thousands of times, trample over for a win with one creature. I will say this is not the easiest combo to set up in one turn because we don't have the same untap shenanigans, so it's not like we can just like sack a Birds of Paradise, get a Vizier Remedies, and then do it again because our Prime Speaker will be tapped, but we can just draw into this combo or tutor it up over the course of a couple of turns, or we can use our Duskwatch Recruiter, which is kind of the traditional combo piece that you see in Vizier Druid combos, just a one of, but if we're making infinite mana, then Duskwatch Recruiter, activate it an infinite number of times, draw every creature in our deck, win somehow. Finally, combo number 4, and this one takes advantage of Chord of Calling, which Chord of Calling is a card we want in our deck anyway because it gets our Prime Speaker, it gets any of our random one-of creatures. It's a way we can set up the Vizier Druid combo without using our Prime Speaker, but assuming we have some creatures on the battlefield for Convoking, we can also just combo over the course of a few turns with Chord of Calling. So we can Chord of Calling, get Eternal Witness to get back Chord of Calling, then we can Chord of Calling to get Restoration Angel to blink Eternal Witness to get back Chord of Calling. Then we Chord of Calling for kiki-jiki, go infinite with Restoration Angel, copy it, blink Kiki, copy it, blink Kiki, infinite number of Restoration Angels. So those are the 4 crazy combo loops of the deck. Otherwise, the deck has just some value creatures. Knight of Autumn is a great toolboxy one-of, can get rid of artifacts and enchantments, can gain us life, can be a big creature. Kitchen Finks, some nice life gain. Fauna Shaman, a backup way to tutor through our deck. Spellskite protects our other creatures. As far as the mana base, not going to talk about all the lands, but basically a bunch of fetch lands, shock lands, basic lands, pretty typical modern mana base. As far as the sideboard, we get a bunch more creatures that we can tutor up for specific situations. So for combo matchups, Ethersworn Canonist, Gaddock really shuts down some decks. Thragtusk, Core Firewalker, Scavenging Ooze give us some life gain against aggro and burn. Scavenging Ooze also good graveyard hate. Then we have some removal creatures we can find. Is it Staticaster to get rid of a board full of like Young Pyromancer, Lingering Souls tokens? Also just shoot down X1s. Deputy of Detention, another new addition, gets rid of literally anything as long as it sticks on the battlefield. Fulminator to tutor up to deal with Tron lands. Kataki for artifact decks. Selfless Spirit is another way to protect our combo pieces, make them indestructible. Path to Exile, just some removal. We don't really have any real removal in the main deck, so we can sideboard and passive for against like Infect or other decks where we really got to kill creatures quickly. And that is the absurdity of Prime Speaker Pod for Modern. And that's been our Fishbowl Thursday Instant Deck for this week. So thank you so much to Allie J for sending in this deck. And I gotta say, this feels like a deck that could be legitimately competitive in Modern. The power of Prime Speaker, it is very high. And I would not be surprised to see something like this, maybe exactly this, but something very close to this, being a legitimate deck in Modern, because really, as we were talking about through the whole deck tech, all you need is one creature in a Prime Speaker that's not summoning sick, and you just win the game. You just win the game. It's as simple as that. So thank you so much to Allie J for sending it in, and one more time, if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave that link in the comments, or you can email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.